Hi guys, it's Dan. Today I wanted to go over how to edit scanned images, in this case drawings, in order to use them as underlays for future design work. I brought it into Photoshop and it's ready to go ahead. Our first step in order to do this is to make a new layer. So if we want to come over to the right hand side of the layers palette, double click on background, and this will free up your background layer from your drawings. And then I want to make a new background layer, so I make a new layer by going to the bottom right hand side, pressing this little button right here, create a new layer, brings up a new layer. I'm going to switch the position of the new layer with the original background. I'm going to try and phase out the white in this drawing ultimately. That way I can have only the clean black lines. First, I'd like to rotate it so that the drawing is completely orthogonal. See how it's scanned in? It's a little bit crooked. So what I want to first do is bring up the rulers. So I want to go to View, Show. View, Rulers. So you bring up the rulers. And in order to rotate this plan, I'd like to grab a horizontal guideline by go ahead and clicking at the top of the ruler and bringing down a horizontal guideline. I'm going to snap that to the bottom left hand corner of the drawing on the left. And so now, in order to rotate this into place, I'd like to grab the pivot point, which is in the very center of the image. If you're not seeing this, it could be because your transform controls are not on. So go ahead and up here at the top there's a little checkbox that says show transform controls. Go ahead and check that on to make sure you can view your pivot point. Now start by taking your pivot point and putting it at the bottom left hand corner of this drawing. Now if I do that, then I'm going to be able to rotate about this pivot point right here. Now let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to take our top layer by pressing Control T. We're going to bring up a transform dialog box, and now up here we have the ability to change the degree of rotation by typing in a value. And so I'll start typing in a value and then you'll see what happens. So, let's say 3 degrees. Now in this case, if I rotate it 3 degrees, it's going to rotate it 3 degrees in the negative direction. So we're going to want to actually go the opposite way. And so negative 3 degrees is actually or it's a little too much. So we can go ahead and bring down, let's try 2.5. Let's try negative 2 degrees. So here we can see that the floor plans are lining up with the guideline at the bottom, so it looks like it's about right. So I'm going to go ahead and click the checkbox up here to complete the action. Now we have the drawings that are straight up and down. I'm going to go ahead and move my guideline out of the way now. Okay, our next step, I'd like to get rid of this grayish tones that are picked up by the scanner when you scan the image in. So what we want is clean black and white drawings. And to begin, I'd like to go up to Image, Adjustments, and then down to Curves. And so Curves is going to allow me to play with the overall the brightness and contrast on a sort of curve scale. So if I do to quickly make it look a lot better, I like to use the preset increase contrast. So at the top, if you click on the down arrow, it brings up all the options. If you click increase contrast, it's gonna do, you know, pretty good by you to begin with. But I'd like to brighten up the brights, and I'd like to try and get rid of that gray bar on the side over here. So first thing I want to do, make sure your preview is checked on so that you can see the action as you're playing with this, so you can see the results. What I want to try and do is bring out the brightest brights and the darkest darks. Okay, here we have the plans where we got it almost completely white in the background, and so I'm going to go ahead and accept those changes. And now I want to go ahead and further get rid of some of this other junk, so I can I'm on the drawing layer, and I'm going to come over here and just delete this. But now we're ready for our background layer. We'll call that background. So we want to put the background layer. I usually use the paint bucket, where the shortcut for that is G. See right here is also the transform tool, so I want to bring down and go to the paint bucket tool, so I can bring that up and then switch it out for the white paint bucket, so we can get a white background. So I'm going to place that white background. Now what I want to do is come over to here and this layer, so we're going to call this line work, and I'm going to try and get rid of the white background. So in order to see this properly, I'm going to put a color overlay on the background, so that the background can be like pink, so you'll be able to see the extra white on the top layer. So to do that, we come down to the functions on the to add a layer style, this FX key, bring that up and do what's called a color overlay. This applies a color to the entire layer that you have on, so whatever you're showing, it's going to apply a color. So I'm going to go ahead and make this pink. Okay, now we can see what's going on underneath. So in order to get rid of this white, I'm going to come to our line work layer, select color range, and then what I'm going to do is select the white with the eyedropper and play around with the fuzziness. I want to show this in quick mask view so that you can see the effect as it's going on the screen. Okay, so I believe I've selected all the white, and what I want to do is place a layer mask on this layer so we can non-destructively get rid of the white on the drawing. And so I want to come over here and place this little button right here. It's called a layer mask. Now that masked everything off, but it basically did the inverse of what I wanted. So if I click on the layer mask over here and press Control I, it'll invert it. So now what we have is nothing but black line work, but it looks a little bit funny because the white got a little bit taken away. So I will show you a quick and easy little trick in order to make these clean up nicely, and it goes back to that color overlay thing I showed you a little bit ago. So what I want to do is on this line work layer, put another color overlay and make this black. And if I play with the opacity, then it's going to be, won't be so strong. However, now this applies an uniform black over all the colors that are in there, because it picked up a little bit of white when I got rid of it. So now we've got nice clean drawings to work from, and we can go ahead and turn our background back to white.